Okay, my friends, good afternoon. I am very excited to share with you 4 ways to ground your hope when you are taking a neuroplastic approach to rewiring your brain to recover from chronic illness. The concept of hope is talked about a lot. A lot of people, when we start out, especially, we need to feed our belief that we can do this, that neuroplasticity will work and that we can do it. So a lot of people will, watch recovery stories and create their own future visualizations of what their life's going to look like. We're encouraged to do that. Most brain rewiring programs will encourage you to create a very positive image of yourself being healthy and thriving and having this absolutely gorgeous life of your recovered life. And those are good things. However, it's really important to understand the way that motivation is wired in the brain, because that is something, it's like the kite. It's going to get you off the ground, but it doesn't have its own motor. It's not something that's sustainable. And without that motor, it will crash at some point and you will lose all of your motivation and possibly become quite depressed if that's the only form of motivation that you have. And here's why. When we have our motivation, the part of the brain responsible for motivation, we need to have a tangible experience of the good thing that we are seeking on a regular enough basis for the nervous system, for this more animal part of us to have a reason to go after it. Like if you had a dog and you kept telling it you were going to give it a treat, they can smell the treat and they get up close, but they never actually get the treat. Eventually they're going to learn, but it doesn't matter because you're kind of tantalizing me with this, but I never actually get the thing. So at some point they're just kind of like lay there on the floor and be like, I'm not going to try anymore. I don't want to. And that's what it can look like in recovery when we get to a point where if all our motivation has been based on somebody else's success, someone else's commitment to themselves, someone else's belief in themselves and the science, then it doesn't give us any more. That our own nervous system's still like, where's mine? I'm watching them eat it, but I don't get to have any. So here's the 4 ways that you can ground your hope and create that motor that will create sustainable, lasting hope and motivation for you to continue your journey forward. And again, I would say starting within the first around 6 months at least, it's really important to start implementing these and really shifting the direction of how you find motivation and hope. The first one is the science. This is it's science. It's kind of like, I always say, it's like gravity. If you do it, it works. We have a use it or lose it brain. We know that our symptoms are cross-wired with stress chemistry, with negative thoughts, with negative behaviors, with negative emotions. So if we keep going in those, we're going to keep using them. They're going to stay there. If we interrupt those negative pathways and replace them with positive ones, we're going to have positive neurochemistries and we're going to have positive neural pathway. We're going to have a totally different brain. So it's very simple. It's very straightforward. If you do it, it works. But really coming back to the science, it's why we're doing this, because we're really building ourselves on a strong foundation. The second one is your own commitment. And this one is the tricky one, because a lot of people will believe the science, but they don't necessarily believe in themselves. So one of the things I encourage people to do is pick even one small thing. It could be something very simple, or it could be part of your practice. And commit to doing that thing every day, preferably by lunchtime, so that we don't give ourselves the chance to. So it could be one visualization practice or meditation or a bit of mood elevation or something like that. And committing to having a steady practice and showing up for yourself builds self-trust. Your limbic system now sees, oh, when the adult in here says they're going to do something, they do it consistently. So I can trust that they will take the appropriate actions and be able to implement that science. And that's the motor. They're going to get us where we need to go. We're not just waiting for the wind to blow us around. I can trust this person. And even if it's small, just having that, making very small commitments that you can keep. This is why starting small is so important, because we need to build motivation. If we just want to overhaul everything at once, we are signing up to fail and to crash. And that breaks our trust with ourselves and reduces our motivation. So start small, but be consistent. That's absolutely essential. And practice believing in yourself in small ways. Just doing your practice, just little things. That's very tied to the third thing, which is positive experiences in the present moment. Because again, that dog needs to actually get to eat the treat in some form. I know this is very difficult to do when your brain is stuck in a rut and going around with all the, your baseline state is fear and terror and desperation and obsession. It's hard to get into a positive state. So with that, I want to say that even if it's a little trickle, or maybe I always called it the plastic wrap pop, where sometimes when our brains are really stuck, it's like trying to eat something through plastic wrap and you're like, I kind of can like smell it and I like get the texture, but it doesn't really quite feel like you're really getting it. But going back to the science, rehearsing positive emotions in your smiling, even when you're not happy, you're forcing yourself to laugh, you're practicing gratitude, practicing noticing what's good objectively. Those things all prime the pump where we're starting to groove a neural pathway for positive neurochemistry, even if the water isn't coming yet, even if we're not getting all that dose just yet. Just those little bits of positive experience still count. It's just noticing what is real. The sun is shining today. There's flowers on the trees. It's springtime. Like, these are things that are beautiful and real and right here. This is a beautiful song. My slippers are warm and soft. I'm grateful. I've got a roof over my head. Whatever those things are, just really, really simple things, bringing your attention to, and continuously, repeatedly bringing your attention to the positives that are present, practicing your visualization, listening to music, anything you can do to generate dose, tapping, somatics, or calm. You want to try to give your brain as much positive experience in the present moment as possible, because now the dog knows, oh, I do get to actually eat this sometimes. It might not be all the time that I get to feel this way, but when we're consistent with that and we get those little bites, we get those little glimmers, those little appetizers of what being in positive neurochemistry actually feels like, then now we have now your limbic system and your nervous system on an embodied level know what you're talking about when you're talking about this beautiful future. Now we know what that feels like. So now we know what it tastes like. Now we're more motivated to go after it because we're like, oh, wow, that's really good. And that was something for me, like just getting familiar with calm. I was like, man, I don't need big, exciting things anymore. I just want to feel calm. Like, if I just know that I'm loved and I can be calm and feel safe, I'm good. I can handle like whatever. I'm fine. And that was huge. But my system, I'd never known calm before I started this process. So I needed really big, grandiose, future visualizations until I realized that calm was really what I was looking for. So just give yourself those appetizers. And the last one, this one is so huge. Our motivation must be attached to an outcome that we can control. How might you do that? That is a very good question. So at some point, we need to shift our goal from recovery. And I've talked about this before. If we try too hard to recover, it stops us from recovering, ironically, because recovery is a concept. It's like the picture of the bone on the dog treat box. It's not a real thing. It's just an idea. Like, recovery is not a thing it has no body, it has no form to it. So trying to recover too hard keeps us stuck in obsession, keeps us attached to this fantasy that we can't actually ever have. You try to chew that cardboard box, it doesn't taste good. So there are two things that I encourage you to, that I offer you. You can come up with your own if you'd like, but I want to give you two prefabricated goals that you can definitely achieve on any given day, so that you're hanging your hat on an actual hook and not on a pie in the sky fantasy of this future life. That's amazing and perfect. The first one is quality of life. You might, at this point, again, part of it is people are like, well, will this symptom go away? Will it work for this? Just take all that out of the picture and say, okay, if I'm elevating my state and I'm not entertaining all of these negative loops and focusing on my symptoms all the time, the moment I'm in is going to be even just a little bit better than it would have been if I didn't. That's why I'm doing this. And that can feel, again, like going from this grandiose, beautiful image of your recovered life to being like, okay, this moment is just like a little bit better. Like, that doesn't seem that motivating, but it actually is. It's like, okay, that's something I can handle. That's something that your limbic system, which operates at like a 2 to 3 year old level, can understand. You tell a 3-year-old we're going to have lunch in 5 minutes, and 30 seconds later, they're like, Mommy, I'm hungry. So that's where your limbic system's at. It can't understand the future. So just quality of life. If you do this work, no matter what you're facing in life, no matter your other circumstances or non-limbic issues you're dealing with, your quality of life is determined 100% by your brain state. The better your brain state, the more capable you'll be to handle any other issues in your life. So you can massively improve your quality of life. That's for sure. And then we also and that's something you can do for just right now. And at the end of the day, every moment, it's just in this moment, if I choose a better focus, a more positive focus, more positive thought, this moment's better. That's it. The other one is unconditional love. And this one's my biggest message on here, is that this whole process is about choosing yourself. It's that commitment to yourself, your commitment to the work, your commitment to loving yourself, to learning the science, to learning and understanding that all of this comes down to secure attachment. You know, your brain is feeling very scared, very out of control. It needs containment. It needs healthy boundaries, those negative pathways to be interrupted, positive focus, positive experiences, positive neurochemistry, the truth of what's going on, that this is just the brain, that there's no scary, terrifying monster. But that practice of love, you know, using your tools as a way to love yourself, to say, oh, okay, I'm focusing on symptoms. I'm afraid of the future. I'm stuck in the past. Oh, hold on, that's my brain. I love myself. I'm worthy of a better experience. So I'm choosing a better experience. I'm going to focus on how beautiful the spring flowers are, and to go sit outside or look out my window for a few minutes and just notice all the beauty around me, because this is real and this is here, and I'm worthy of experiencing good things and beautiful things. It's all self-love. But if love is your goal, you always have the freedom to love. Even in moments where you can't fully access it, you can still set an intention to love. It's something that's there. And that was another one for me. The certain points in my own journey, those were the two things. Everything else got stripped away, and there was nothing left to hold on to other than I loved myself as best I could today. And even if I was at it all day and I still feel terrible at the end of the day, I can still choose to have a better focus while I'm falling asleep. And if I'm not falling asleep, I can listen to music and sing to myself, or stare out the window at the stars and enjoy the fact that I have a bed to lay in, even if I'm not sleeping. Still making that choice to love and to choose the next best thing in that moment. And that was, for me, that was how I got to where I was going, because my journey was very long and so many relapses, and there was no ability to hold on to any fantasies of some amazing future. So there's some ways to ground your hope, my friends. I hope that you find this helps you to feel more excited about your day when you wake up in the morning. Love you guys.